So Adrian, one of the things that's quite interesting in the book is, I mean, everybody talks about customer engagements,
Sure.
but you, in the book, you say, well, to really engage customers, you need to be willing to fail, which sounds puzzling, you know, at first instance. So what do you mean by that?
So I think that there's a really interesting idea around, we talk about engagement and what that means, but we still talk about engagement in a very mechanistic sort of way. We talk about customer service not failing, having a perfect experience, and so on and so forth. But I think if we actually step back and look at engagement, what does engagement mean, particularly at a human-to-human kind of level? Sometimes your best friends or the people that that are closest and dearest to you are the ones that are willing to make mistakes. They are willing to try new things. And you're there to support them on their journey. And I think there's not that many companies have taken that to heart, because they're always trying to be no failure, perfect service, so on and so forth. But I actually think what's interesting is that there's an opportunity to think about how can we try something kind of new, but it might not work. And actually, in the belief that if your service is good enough, customers will forgive you for not getting things right every time. If you're trying to improve the service, if your intent is to improve things, but you're willing to maybe trip up a couple times along the way, actually the amount of forgiveness that customers will have for companies that are trying to do the right thing, I think is enormous.
And do you think it's stifling for companies if they're unwilling to fail, which let's say some companies are, you know, they just don't want to make any mistakes? Yeah. Do you think that stifles them in terms of creativity and innovation, and actually long term can actually be harmful?
I think so, because what you end up doing is if your primary motivation is not to do something wrong, then you'll just never embark on some of these new and possibly incremental initiatives or innovative initiatives that might not work but could be amazing. And because if you're striving for perfection, but there's a risk that something might fail, you just not do it. And so what you'll do is you'll forego all sorts of potentially great opportunities just because there might be a small percentage risk that you might fail.
That's a really interesting point, because I don't think it's something that companies think about particularly, but when you look at some of the big companies around, I mean, Apple didn't get their Maps app right, did they? No, first off, and Google, I think, have had some quite public failures as well. So I think when you talk about some of these real innovative companies, do exactly what you say.
Well, absolutely. I think there's a great example from the UK, which they don't do so much of it now, but they used to do, and that's First Direct. And on their website, they used to have a thing called First Direct Lab, where they used to put up new pieces of software or initiatives that they were trialing, and they would let people know that we're trialing these things and test them out, let us know what you think. And they used to get massive amounts of feedback and learning for the customers. They used to go, oh, we built this, let us know what you think. People used to try and go, yeah, it's great, or it's not great, or it's rubbish, or it'd be better if it was like this or like not. So they're almost innovating in public. But in doing that, through their innovating in public sort of initiatives, they build additional trust with people, because people can see that they're trying to do things that are going to help them, and it's going to improve the service. And I think it just all lends itself to why First Direct are still loved by the majority of their customers, and still one of the most talked about customer-focused brands in the UK.